Ghost Stories, where today we're traveling far beyond history and deep into the shadows of mythology in search of the roots of Halloween. I'm your host, Pat McGuire, and today we descend into one of the most haunted places in Ireland, Oweynagat, or Oweynagat, the Cave of Cats. Hidden beneath the green plains of Rathcrone in County Roscommon, this small, dark opening in the earth has been called Ireland's gate to hell. But long before Christianity ever gave it that name, it was something older, something sacred. It was the doorway to the other world, the place between the living and the dead, and the heart of the ancient festival that became known today as Halloween. The Rathcrone complex covers over 6 square kilometers and holds more than 200 ancient monuments, ring forts, burial mounds, and ceremonial enclosures. But all roads here lead to one small ominous spot, a stone-lined passageway sinking beneath the earth called Oweynagat, the Cave of Cats. When you crawl inside, the light fades quickly, the walls close in, damp and rough. Your breath fogs in the chill air. It feels less like entering a tunnel and more like crossing a threshold. Ancient inscriptions still mark the Ogham stones. One reads, "Of Freach, son of Maeve." Maeve, the legendary queen of Connacht, ruled from this very plain. And it was through this cave that her story and the world of gods and monsters intertwined. In the old Irish myths, Oweynagat was no ordinary cave. It was a gateway to the other world, a realm that mirrored our own, but shimmered beyond the mortal light. The medieval chroniclers called it Avernus Hibernicus, Ireland's hell. But that translation hides the truth. To the Celts, the other world wasn't punishment. It was power. A place of eternal youth, of gods, of spirits, and the restless dead. And once each year, on the festival of Samhain, the door between the worlds opened. On that night, the stories say terrible things spilled forth from Oweynagat. Spectral birds whose breath withered the land. A herd of crimson pigs that devoured the harvest. A monstrous cat-like creature that roamed the night, its eyes burning like coals. And sometimes, emerging with them, came the Morrigan, or Na Marinia. The Morrigan is one of the most powerful figures in Irish mythology, a goddess of battle, prophecy, and sovereignty. She is both a single being and three. Live, the crow of battle, Macha of kingship and war, and Nevin, who brings madness to the armies. In every form, she is the embodiment of fate, the whisper in the storm before the clash of swords, the crow circling above the fallen. According to legend, she dwells within the Cave of Cats. And on Samhain night, she rises from its darkness to walk the land. Sometimes as a woman, dark-haired and paled, her cloak swirling like a shadow, and sometimes as a raven, perched on a battlefield cross. In one tale, she meets the hero Cuchulainn, offering him love and prophecy. And when he rejects her, she curses him, foretelling his death. Later, as he dies, it is she who alights on his shoulders in the form of a crow, the goddess of fate, watching her prophecy fulfilled. But at Rathcrone, she is more than an omen of war. She was the spirit of the land itself. The power that crowned kings, that withered fields, and that announced the turning of the seasons. Each Samhain, as the light died and the winter began, the Morrigan's voice echoed from the cave. It was the sound of endings and beginnings. To the ancient Irish, Samhain marked the end of the year. When the sun's strength faded and the darkness returned. It was not a night of horror, but of transition. A night suspended between life and death. People gathered on the hills to light great bonfires. Livestock were brought in from the fields. Offerings of food and drink were left for wandering spirits. At Rathcrone, Oweynagat was believed to be the axis of this change, the literal crossing point between the worlds. As the firelight flickered, families told stories of the creatures that emerged from the cave, of warriors lost to the other world, and of the Morrigan's voice carrying on the wind. They wore masks to confuse the spirits that roamed the night, disguising themselves so the dead would not recognize them. They hollowed turnips into lanterns to ward off the evil, a practice that would later travel across the sea and transform into the jack-o'-lantern. And as Christianity spread throughout Ireland, Samhain merged with All Saints and All Souls Days, becoming the holiday we now call Halloween. But beneath the costumes and the candy, the ancient story endures that once a year the world of the living and the world of the dead draw close enough to touch, and that doorway in Rathcrone opens again. Oweynagat still lies beneath the fields of Rathcrone. Visitors can enter it. If they're brave enough to crawl through its narrow stone throat, the air will grow colder with each step they take. The light will eventually dim to nothing. And then, eventually, there's just silence. The same silence that has filled the space for over 2,000 years. Locals still speak of strange things, whispers in the dark, flickers of light, the flutter of wings where no birds dwell. They say that on Samhain night, if you stand at the entrance to the cave and listen, you might hear the Morrigan's voice carrying on the wind from far beyond in the other world. Oweynagat is more than just a cave. It's a reminder of how ancient people saw the world, not divided into good and evil, but woven together by mystery and balance. Life and death, summer and winter, light and shadow. It's the birthplace of Samhain, and the idea that once each year the veil between the worlds grows thin and the spirits return home. So when the last candle flickers in your jack-o'-lantern this Halloween, when the wind sighs against your window and you feel that chill that makes you look over your shoulder, remember this place. Remember Oweynagat, Oweynagat, the cave of cats, the gate to the other world, where the Morrigan awaits, and where the story of Halloween first began. I'm your host, Pat McGuire, and this concludes the first series of Campfire Ghost Stories from the History Things podcast. We do hope you've enjoyed it, and if you've liked it so far, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing with the history lover in your life. You can reach us via email by sending messages to historythingspodcast@gmail.com, or you can follow us on our social media simply by searching for the History Things podcast. We look forward to seeing you every month as always with the brand new podcast episode and all those lovely bonuses sprinkled within. Until next time, happy Halloween. Get lots of candy, be safe, and remember just to take a moment to listen for what stirs just beyond the veil.